So thank you for doing my show.
Yeah, thanks for thinking of me.
Yes, absolutely. You know, you guys had me on y'all show before, so I'm like, for one, I'm definitely gonna have you on mine. And for this particular episode, I wanted a Black woman, mother, someone who's just out there hustling. So I'm like, lifestyle maintenance. And for this, I'm on my chill tonight. I got my tea. Usually I'll have a drink or something, but I'm like, you know what? I'm on my woo side right now. So we go ahead. Tea on this one.
So I have my wax pen right here. So definitely on my woo side, but this is my
girl. The meds is always the woo side. Girl, I missed it. I ain't gonna lie, because you know I'm been here on the East Coast because I had my daughter, so I came home to the East Coast where my family is. But I'm excited to get back to California because I miss it.
Yeah, it's definitely been one of those seasons that like have a seat for 2020. Like I feel like everybody was like, oh, and it was like, have a seat. You're doing too much. Like world. Several seats. You're doing a lot.
And we already thought 2019 was crazy. They was like, no, just wait for it.
You're doing a lot. And it was like,
So officially, welcome to Power Cut. And I say this to everybody who's done it. Thank you for saying yes, because even though we all sitting down right now, everybody trying to figure it out, and this is me figuring it out, I have to be creative. You know, if I have writer's block or creative block with the music, I'm gonna figure something else out.
Nice. So, I like it. I like it, and I'm excited.
Just in general, the drive. And it's funny, we talking about COVID. How do you even maintain that drive? Because you know, you sit down for one. Me, I went through my pregnancy, which was very rough, which I'm not used to sitting down that long. I'm a go person. Then when I had my daughter, you know, I had a C-section, so then I had to heal from that. And then right after that, COVID. I'm sitting down with everybody, but I'm like, I've been sitting down in quarantine, I feel like, for a year before everybody else did. And the creativity slowed down during the pregnancy and all that stuff. So now that I'm kind of getting back to it, it's like, you know, you got to just keep moving. Like, how do you keep moving in this? First of all, let everybody know what you got going on, and then just like, let us know how you kind of been maintaining and all this craziness.
Where does she begin? Okay. So I am a mother. Wow. Okay. So that's the first thing. My son is under 2 years old. Amen. So, and I don't know anybody who
bless your heart, girl.
is in that space. Anyone who's in the space, who's adjacent to the space of this toddler moment. Like, so that's a major part of my life. I am back to work. I work as a UPM and line producer's assistant for scripted television, TV shows. And so I am right now working on Mixed-ish. Season 2. And so I'm doing that. It is COVID. Again, my son's under 2, so I'm sure I'm somewhere in there still a little postpartum-esque. With COVID, I work remotely. So I am simultaneously momming and working. So there's not a getting your breath or like riding to work and having that moment.
Right.
I also got halted with this, but I began work on my EP. I sing before any of this, before coming to all this. How I even got to production was just like having like a bad moment musically and kind of going into my shell. And for me, going into my shell was working in TV. Who knew?
Girl.
So I started doing that. Journey. COVID put me and my producer, who I've known since I'm late teens, like 19, 20, something like that. Our vibe is a thing, and he's been stuck in different places or whatever. That's a thing. So mother, worker, singer. I started a brand called Jeweled High Life. I am such the girly girl. I like shopping. I like fun things. And I like shiny things. Like, for instance, like my earrings. Like, these are in my boutique.
Oh, cute.
I just like having shit that no one else has. And so I want to just give that to the people. Yeah. So there's Jeweled High Life. We over here learning day trading, girl. Like, there's a lot of things. So that's who I am in a nutshell. Oh, and my family owns a production space and studio and stuff. So I'm very adjacently involved with that. So it's like lots of creative things. And I guess the drive is because I bore easily. If that's the most like messy way to put it, but like a better way to put it is
like it's cool. I know that's the only way you can explain it.
Yeah, a better way to put it would be I have a lot of interest.
There you go.
I'm interested in many things. And looking at my son, my baseline personality, which kicked in when I had my son, who was 3 months premature. So that baseline personality, that's like a go, kept going. And I wasn't working at the time, but I kept going just on other things and taking care of him and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then it made me look at him and then go back to work as soon as I was able. And, you know, even starting Joe's High Life, because actually what happened was right before the pandemic, I was like, yo, I'm going to go ahead and start. And instead of like hitting go, I took some time and like asked a friend of mine at the time to make a logo for me. And I learned Shopify. I just did a bunch of stuff to like kind of nurture this brand thing and figure out what I really wanted it to be. I was like, hand stoning things, which I still do, and like all kind of stuff. Yes, it satisfies me, but I guess the bonus or the cherry is like, he watches like, oh, he sees that his parents, his mama still doing stuff. We may not, you know, change from pajamas every day or before noon, you know what I'm saying? However, we still get something done or feed our bliss.
Yeah. Well, believe it or not, the kids, I don't care how young they are, they soak it up. Him watching you, he's just going to pick it up. Like, I remember when my son was like 3 or 4, and I have no idea where he got it from or where he even came from with the question. But he said, Mom, can we talk about business? What?
That's amazing. Can we talk about business? Yes. Okay. Hi, 4 years old. Yes, we can.
Right. I'm like, all right. Well, let's talk then. How do I put this in ABC terms? 1 + 1 = $2. You save that $2, invest it. You know what I mean? So they watch and they learn. They watch and learn for real, for real. The smallest things, it don't even matter. Like, I've been going through that stage. Right now, I have 7 waist beads that I made in the beginning of the quarantine. If I'm going to sit here, let me kind of find my meditation. I'm healing from just having a baby. You know, you want to rekindle your spirit and all that. And one of my fears was postpartum. I didn't have it with my son, but I was afraid of having it with my daughter because the pregnancy was so rough already. I'm like, just in case, let me see how I can kind of come out and level out. So I made waist beads that represent the 7 African powers. So I got one for each one of those, and it was meditative to do. I started getting my creativity back with the music, writing more and producing more, even though it's just piling up. When you hit that little roadblock, I just come up with ideas. Like, I'm working on frequency medicinals right now, which is going to be the mental health awareness, cannabis, holistic health, everything like that. Yeah, that one I'm really micro picking at because I want it to be right. I really want it to just get out there and be big because I know it can be life changing for people, and I know it's something that can change the world, you know, if I approach it properly. So that one I know is going to take time before I start talking about launches and stuff. And then the video, this, you know, the YouTube channel, because I started the YouTube 6 months ago. I opened it when I released my single, but I wasn't adding anything. I'm like, well, let me just start building content. Let me see what makes sense right now. I can just talk to people that I know, talk to my friends and different aspects and different industries. You know, let me reach out to everybody so we can just talk about what we're doing and how we're dealing with it and have a real life, just chill conversation via Zoom. So we all social distance until we can start getting in the studios and stuff together again. This is just how I'm kind of flowing through it, staying creative as much as possible until things start making sense again. You know, I got a teenager and a newborn, so
that's a whole nother.
You gotta keep you gotta game face. You know
one of your children is basically self-sufficient, and one of your children is at the other end of it.
Yes.
A friend of mine has the same. Prayer was born in March, and so Presley was born in November. So so her baby's a little bit behind mine, and then her daughter just turned 13, and she's got a 7-year-old. I recognize that whole like there's a lot.
You got it's like 1 minute I'm like, did you do your homework? Look, high school is happening. When you get through high school, you're gonna get the grades, and then the next minute I'm like, what you doing? Don't eat that. You know, so I'm like, oh my God.
It's a lot.
Everybody go to bed. Everybody just go to bed.
See, but I'm glad you have the self-sufficient child because that's also like, please help me, please warm this up,
that happens.
Please.
I'm like, look, watch your sister for a second because. So it is helpful. It is helpful having, because I've always wanted more children. I never imagined having my children so far apart, but everything happens the way it does. And I am appreciative of it. It worked itself out.
Like, speaking of getting through or whatever, like you were saying about your tea and like this pen in my hand, of everything in life, like I am so, I can't even think of the words, but it doesn't matter. Because what I'm saying is I am such a fan of or pusher of, I'm trying to use other words than advocate because like, I don't know, I'm trying to be creative. Anyway, of cannabis. Weed helps. And this is a lot of the reason why with Jeweled High Life, I just wanted to mesh the things I like because cannabis, I don't know what kind of parent I would be without cannabis. I have a little boy who also like sees his dad who's athletic and works out and stuff. So I have a little boy who thinks he's like, you know,
right.
whatever that is, and constantly running and trying to jump and impress and whatever like that. So with the baby proofing and the trying to get things done, because I'm looking at him like, I want to give you this amazing life, and like I'm gonna put you here, put you here, put you here. There's this moment where you're just like, but I need a moment, and he's so young. So weed helps. It helps me be able to like shift focus. Yeah. Without being frustrated about it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like with being like, okay, so now we're here. Instead of like, okay. which can be a thing.
Trust me, I am a test subject of being with it and being without it and knowing the difference. Like I have been without it for a long time just because I'm not in the environment to be able to do so. And, you know, with laws and stuff and me being an advocate as well, like I'm always checking it out. Like the BCC had a board meeting. I sat in on that thing. That thing was hours long. So they having another one December 7th. So anybody that want to be up on the laws, BCC, check it out. Know your stuff. Know what's going on because it's a lot of information. I'm planning on going through the licensing at some point. So you want to kind of just stay up on that stuff. But I'm a test subject, you know, and even when I've gone on tour, I wasn't able to take it with me. So I know what it's like. You feel the difference, seriously. Because as soon as I got back home, I was like, I feel like me again.
My son literally just ran. It's okay, baby. He literally just ran in here and like bust into the door real quick. But see, so yes, like you said, like this is what it is. He's with his dad though, so no, there's no child endangerment.
We gotta tiptoe the world into that. That works.
The cannabis thing.
Yeah, with kids, you know, because the first thing everybody want to hop at. I'm still trying to figure out how I can do that too, because I definitely plan on incorporating that information into the whole branding and everything.
I've become a really good microdoser since being a parent, because here's the thing, like you have to be in a good mindset. Like you have to be, if you care about your kid, in my opinion, these are just opinions. If you care about your child and like parenting is something you're like, I'm here for this, I'm here to be a guide, and like, you know, then you want to be at your best. So what you're not going to do is over serve yourself on anything, because you're going to have to handle that. And so I always find it very interesting how it's so appropriate and common for you to be like, ooh, my wine, ooh, my beer, bop, 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 shop.
Okay.
But like, what about cannabis in the same respect of like, when I come home and I want to watch whatever my little program is or whatever the case, or listen to my little jams, why not a joint?
Right.
And I have this thing with my son, which when he gets older, I think that it's going to be a situation where, well, we're going to always be in a national in the United States. Always be in a space where it is legal, recreationally and medicinally, because that's just better for me with a child. But I think with my son that I want to keep him away from smoke, but when it comes to like vaping and things like that, he'll probably have more of a front row seat to that as he gets older, which is why we already talk about cannabis with a 1-year-old, because he has to understand the language has to be a part of his vocabulary. He has to understand like
exactly. You know, and then when they start wondering about drinking and everything, you gotta have that same conversation. I plan to do the same thing with my kids, especially my 13-year-old who is not unfamiliar with it, but his viewpoints are, you go to the hood, you see people smoke. That's the outlook that you have, not the outlook of, hey, this is medicinal. With him being a teenager, going into high school, he's in 8th grade now, going into high school kids start using. So, you know, it's one of those things where it's like you have to kind of explain to your kids, like, these are the age limits, just like with drinking. I can only hope that my child will listen to me, but kids, they get the tendency to want to experiment. My main thing is I want you to know what's around you, who's around you, how things affect you, what doesn't affect you. This is what's good. This is what's bad. This, you know, that's really all you can do.
Because it's such a part of my routine, because it's such a part of my life, I would feel disloyal to like myself, which would make me a bad parent to me. Like, I would feel dishonest if I didn't normalize the conversation. So because I'm still at infancy, like I don't know how the verbiage will change or whatever, but I'm committed to being honest with my son from day one. And so whatever that brings, I will let you know, but I have to, especially because like I smoke, you know what I'm saying? And this is a shirt, this cannabis couple, that's me and his dad. So there's not a space where I can't make it. Like I see ourselves as like very eclectic parents, and where like our household is just probably just a little bit different. Just a little different.
Straight
so
up,
that it's normal, but he knows how the world may feel about it, and he knows what's real from his household, so he can make decisions based on what he's
that's the most important.
And like,
because that's what everybody builds on, is the experience of themselves, what they've seen and how they grew up. Like I said, for me and like with my branding, it's about the mental health awareness, because what a lot of people don't know is your mindset makes a difference. I've had people come to me like, man, I had a really, really bad high, and I've been there because I get anxiety bad. I get anxiety attacks. If I'm in the middle of an anxiety attack and I try to smoke a little bit to kill it, it's actually going to enhance it. You know, so it's a matter of your diet, your mind diet, and the appropriate dosing and all that other stuff, all rolled up into one. Like it all makes a difference. You know, I'm teaching that in the brand and in general. Big Pharma go out of business real fast.
It's always business, which is so crazy because you know what? Oh, conspiracy. I just thought about it. Okay, so what if for business sake, like to force more people to like start businesses, get business license, whatever that is, like bringing the commerce to more of everyone has to be a business. Like you don't have a choice anymore. Pandemic. Because unless you do something that keeps your community going, like pave roads and save lives.
Yes.
And obviously make TV, then you don't. Then you're gonna have to like do something, and you have to like, you know, get a craft or like turn that hobby into an Etsy shop or whatever. I think the conspiracy is pandemic is being used as a way to get people to start businesses. And these businesses. So at the end of this whole thing, businesses. Like I just feel like, because it'll be like another year of like COVID protocol, as we say, at work and things like that, just having to have a different system, an entire hired on crew that specifically deal with COVID restrictions and COVID protocols and pods and groups, and so we can know like if you catch it, who you were around. So whatever that is, like
I think it was tracking something
like something like that. So
track
like,
and trace
that.
The thing.
People that track the stuff. Like with all of these things, again, more business. I feel like it'll just it'll be like a year or two. But in the year or two, watch how many businesses
flowing through changes. The way I've seen it was the mass reset period. Like it's been a mass reset for the entire world. The entire world had to sit their ass down. Okay. Now, how you came out of it, I mean, it was a point where you couldn't do nothing. Now, God bless the people who were able to just go home and work from home immediately and stuff like that. But even still, I mean, millions upon millions of people lost their job. Granted, I'm not talking about the people who felt like they wanted to rest and they finally got the rest. Get your rest, boo. Some people are just like, well, some people just need a rest. Get your rest. For the most part, it gave everybody a chance to sit down. How am I going to come out of this? How can I learn from this? Where am I going to go from here? How do I take advantage of this moment in time, whether it's just catching up on rest or whether it's getting my chance to kind of come out when everybody else come out and make moves and start these businesses? Because I feel like, yes, this businesses is booming, you know, with everybody trying to jump in and get it done. Yeah. So how do you flow through that change? You got a ton of stuff going on. Like I said, the little crafty stuff I was doing is just keeping me sane. You know, how did you like flow through that though? And Jerome, like I know you're doing a whole lot of stuff, but did you have that moment where you kind of just sat down like, what I'm gonna do, or did it kind of just bounce right out of it?
It was interesting for me because I didn't work when I was pregnant, but my pregnancy was very emotionally draining just for the time, just for like other reasons. And you know, I probably was one of the people who I guess what you would place in the category of needed rest. Don't know if I was ready to say that out loud, you know, know, because that's very like anti-popular culture. Like everyone's about hustle and this and that until you break yourself and then, you know, all this whatever sleep when I die type culture. So for me, I think I was probably subconsciously asking for a break spiritually. And in my opinion, I feel like there was like you said, there was like a massive call to like sit down or like just like for everyone to kind of just take a moment. I think that like, because I wanted some sort of paradigm shift for my own life, I need to feel good. I need to be fulfilled. I've got this child here. I want like the best for him, which I've always been the best for myself. But now this is amped up 10,000 levels.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It became COVID or the COVID-19 pandemic and stuff like that. I haven't had a super negative experience. I got relationship counseling, whether I wanted it or not, because I was quarantined with my partner and faced to look at stuff and faced to go, okay, we need coping mechanisms. We need communication tools, you know, things like that. So that was cool. Like I said, I was working on Jeweled High Life and things like that. My son, I'm still adjusting to being a parent. So even in that, and he was premature, so there was so many doctor's appointments and so much stuff. So like even in that, and actually my son got very sick December like 28th, 29th, right before the new year, with something that is very similar to COVID. So
wow.
Yeah, he was very, very sick. And it was because we didn't have the suction at home. Like he had to be suctioned out. And this is a premature kid, or, premature. At the time, obviously, he had gotten home, he had gotten fat. They did not believe us when we told them that he was what they call a micro preemie, born at 25.
Oh, yeah.
So for me, the flow through, I was asking for it. Like I'm obsessed with water. I don't think I'm a water sign. I don't know, I'm a Gemini, but I'm obsessed with water, and I've always wanted to be like that, be very strong, but also be very much.
It might be your moon or your rising might be a water sign.
I don't know. I'm Gemini. So I don't know what.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You Gemini, because you got the co-star, so you Gemini all the way through.
All
the way
I have other things in my chart, but my rising and like my moon are both Gemini, which is,
that's crazy.
But so the flow for me was I asked for it. Like I want a shift in paradigm. And I'm not a person that's willing to like normally to admit whatever, but I was probably very burned out with hustle culture and trying to marry that with this mom who got a baby that needs her possibly more than a normal kid would in the beginning, especially. How do you keep hustling and do whatever, feel good enough, but you got to go to the hospital every day for 3 months? Like it was very, very, very much like something. And I don't want to say that I ever want some disease, anything like this to be the reason. But I believe that everything has a dualistic nature. And with things, you have to take the negative, like what's presenting itself. Obviously it situates itself and people are dying, and that's never a good thing the way we treasure life. Then you have to situate yourself in other spaces, which is it causes the entire Western culture, like all of the people that get on the internet, all that are connected, all of us. Which feels like the world, but it's basically the civilized world, for lack of a better term, right? Because I'm sure people in rural spaces or people that don't subscribe to our whatever are not affected by COVID. But that's a whole other conversation. It allows us to examine the spaces in our way of life that don't work. When you're forced to slow down, then you're confronted with a bunch of stuff. And we saw that with saddeningly, finally people having to speak up 50, 60 years after what we would believe is a civil rights movement, to continue to have to march about stuff.
Right.
The same things. It was like we couldn't, like I'm also not going to work. I can't see my friends. Like now I notice everything. There's nothing here to distract me. And that's just one of the things we had to recognize. But I think that I flowed through because I asked for it. Like I wanted to. So COVID for me has been very
it's definitely
introspective. I did a lot of shadow work, and I see that our world is doing a lot of shadow work as far as looking at some things, and some things we still not ready to look at.
Okay. It's gonna take time. We're gonna give y'all time, but it's coming, honey. Like
it's we say this is unprecedented. I guess every generation has their like, oh my gosh, this is ours, I think. We had, 9/11 happened while we were alive too, but like, this is crazy. Like people went to church for 2-3 months heavy and went back to normal. This is not going to shake back, obviously. It didn't shake back in 2 or 3 months. It changed the way we live. I think it changed the way those who are paying attention thought about how we go about. And for me, it definitely gave me pause, and even more like, I'm gonna do this for my family. I'm gonna make sure we're in a space. I'm gonna make sure
Yeah.
Like you said, the brain food that we're getting is wholesome and nutrient because, like, girl.
Okay.
I don't watch the news, but
yeah, I don't either. But it's like I know,
yeah.
Every now and again I'll peek in on what's going on. I'm around people who'll tell me, what's going on.
Yeah.
But like the fact that you even bringing up shadow work, I've always said this is the year of, before it even happened, I was talking to my best friend and I said, this is the karmatic year. A lot of stuff is going to happen, but a lot of stuff is going to come back. Yeah. A lot of reaping what you sow, and it's going to happen this year. And it's been happening. I've been seeing it. I've been seeing it in small ways, and I've been seeing it in very large ways. At the same time, I'm doing my healing as well, because, I've just been urging the people around me, my circle, and people outside the circle to, like you said, do your shadow work, sit down and start your meditation.
But I'm hoping that there's more, I guess, pockets of people who are more balanced, which allows them to be kinder, which allows them to honestly live more abundantly, even within a paradigm of debt and things like that. Yeah. Like, I just feel like this could be a moment where we could really just throw away what doesn't work for real, instead of trying to put Band-Aids on it and then end up protesting again sooner because people are just more pissed. The flow is a choice, because I asked for it, like I said, and also I can't afford to get all mixed up. Meaning, like you said, with the spiritual gifts and stuff, as my fiance likes to say, I have feelers that people don't have. Like, with that, like you said, it gets exhausting. I genuinely, spiritually just can't afford it. Flow is a choice. Yeah. It's a place of peace. Weed helps. Well, let me decolonize that statement. Cannabis cure.
Okay. I started doing that too. Sometimes I'll get caught up and say, like, oh, weed, but I'm like, you know what? No, cannabis. I don't want people to think that one way, which is the way that society has tried to paint it to be.
It's a derogatory word. Like, you throw weeds away. Weeds are the shit you go pick the weeds. Like, that's a punishment.
Right. This is cannabis, honey. This is the medicinals.
Yes, that's the scientific name for it. So if you call it that, there's no weird social agenda. And hopefully, very soon, there's no connotation or stigma that goes along with it. Because I'm telling you, I'm sitting in front of you, having a beautiful conversation, dabbing my life away. And you know what? The world has not come to an end. So if everybody could just...
everybody can find your trail and find it. Find it. Look, I'm low-key mad I didn't have a cannabis shirt that says natural cure.
Oh,
so
nice.
Exactly. I should have asked you what you wearing, girl, because I know we within the cannabis communities together. So I should have asked you what you was wearing. I'd have been repping too. You know what I mean? But I do what I want, just to let people know.
What's funny is I've been wearing this all day, but underneath this, even in my regular clothes, I have on the special brownie shirt.
Yes.
Just regular clothes. This is what I'm saying. And my earrings say sativa. This is not.
That's what they say. I love it, y'all. Listen, and that's your brand, right?
Yes. Jeweled highlight.
You gotta let me know when they go on sale, because I need to buy me some.
You can DM me right now or talk to me right now. DM me. Check out the website. Let me know what you like. It's jewedhighlife.com, 1L. Let me know what you like, and then message me, and I'll put you something together. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Of the things that you like. I'm also gonna be adding new products. Like, actually, as January 1st, it's gonna be like it'll revamp, meaning with a couple of new products and stuff like that, and changing some vendors out. Cause low key, y'all, and I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm gonna put my business out there because we getting through. When you own a shop, maintenance on that, as far as like people running it for you online, things like that. It also has to do with like who runs your payment stuff. I was under Shopify. The people at Shopify flagged my store for drug paraphernalia. Let me tell you guys, there were many bongs on there that were jeweled with like a weed leaf. Okay, so that's one thing. But the stash jars also, hold on, I have one right here because I put my weed in it. The stash jars had weed in it. And so I got flagged, which is why, as of now, look at the website, then DM me on Instagram, just so I can make sure they don't try to do nothing funny with the payments, so I can ship things and do things the way I need to. But so part of lifestyle maintenance and go with the flow, sometimes you got to figure out a different way to go about things. I'm going to redo some stuff. I did take the bongs off, and I somewhat did away with the pictures with weed in it, but I'm going to tell you right now. I feel feel unjustly persecuted because you can put anything in this jar.
But you know what? Listen, what the businesses are doing, they'll either say tea. You should have said like a tea jar, something like they be doing the most with trying to flag people. And it's with so many businesses out there and states legalizing. I'm curious of how people find a way.
Because you could order from a state that doesn't recognize or have anything about cannabis on the books, I guess. Don't know why you'd be Googling a cannabis culture boutique if you know what, that's none of my business. But what I will say is they tried to play the kid and I decided to revamp. And I had honestly been looking another flow. I had been looking for and feeling like as life picked back up, I wasn't sitting as much. My kid is young, so I wasn't able to hand stone as much. I wasn't able to be as crafty. He grabs at everything. He eats everything. Like it's a whole thing, right? Yeah. So I was looking for, other ways to express my creativity and like just kind of do that whole thing. And it came to just kind of getting vendors to do custom jewelry pieces and getting vendors to do some fashion stuff and things like that. So it's another flow thing. I flowed right into haters, into a new, space for joy.
They gonna hate for a while. Until we get like Canada, they gonna hate for a while. The game changes over and over and over. That's why I attend these BCC meetings. That's why I look at other stuff that I can learn from. So you got to be a sponge in that.
Thank you for having me on your platform, because I want to say this right now. For my tribe, meaning those of us, for my people, I would like to say to you now, it is about taking care of ourselves. And so not necessarily to be super corporate or to be, whatever, but just establishing something for you, for your posterity, such that you do not have to raise children and send them out into the world and ask them to ask somebody else to help them take care of themselves. My tribe, my people, it is on my heart right now, and it has been for a while, that we need to be self-sufficient. So the business thing is just about you contributing something to your community so that you can, receive the resources to take care of your family. And also, again, so your children have, like, I heard this quote and I forget who said it, but it was like what I said before. It was like, don't raise your kids and then send them to someone else to be taken care of. Like, it's a thing. And yes, people say there's a lot of, stuff against us and stuff like that. I understand. But now it's probably easier than ever. Just start and then learn about how to make it so that no one can take it from you as far as incorporation and things like that. But just start, because it's so important for your kids to see you take care of yourself, for our people to see each other being able to take care of themselves. And that brings us pride, and that brings us spaces where we can meet and have that Black folk meeting we've been needing to have. Since these protests, and we can really get something done and come back and participate, should we so choose, in this country the way we deserve to. So that is on my heart, and that's what I'd like to flow into, is my tribe on some take care of ourselves. So start a business, do an Etsy shop, whatever you gotta do, but for yourself.
And I just urge that knowledge is the one word I always throw at people. I will say it forever. Knowledge is free. I'm a student. I love going to school. I'm a student, but to be blatantly honest, I don't need school to humor society. I'm gonna go to school and I'm gonna get my degree. What's the first thing you do when you go to college? You gotta buy books. 9 times out of 10, the same books you buy from the school library, you can find online nowadays. Or you can just go to a library, or you can go to the bookstore and get the same books, and you're going to read the same chapters. Professor, whomever is lecturing at you, is the information that is in the books. Now, a lot of universities will put courses online and everything like that to where you can learn, So I encourage people to just arm yourself with the knowledge. Knowledge is free. And yes, as cliche as it is, knowledge is power, because when you know your shit, nobody can tell you anything. If you find yourself in a situation, in a lane where you have knowledge in it, nobody can tell you shit.
Go learn and then put it to use, because that flows right into what I was saying. Use what you learn. Take care of yourself. Show your kids you can take care. Like, whatever it is, whatever the lane is, you know what I'm saying? Walk in it. That's the thing. I think that's kind of the big lifestyle maintenance thing, right? Like, like soak shit up and then put it to practice. See how you can practically use the things that you have, the inclinations that you have, and the stuff that tickles your fancy and brings you joy or gives you motivation, like walking that stuff.
I think the last couple episodes I've talked a lot about the first step, when I feel like that is just necessary even in this episode, because that falling into that sacrifice, courage, the first step, losing control, I feel like it's necessary in any journey, because it's going to be some points where you have control over nothing, who's around you, what's going on around you, and it's just really about keeping yourself in a grounded stance and let me just flow through it. And then I had an epiphany one day, and I was like, you know what, all this time I realized that when I'm thinking I didn't have control in a certain situation, I really did, because it wasn't until I really lost control that I realized that I didn't actually have it. Shout out, I got a whole theme now. I even bought a shirt. It says, let that shit go. That's like my theme meditation for this whole year. What are you holding on to? You're holding on to this, you're holding on to that. You said earlier, you know, this is a time where everybody kind of sat in themselves and you have to be faced with certain things. Got to take that first step after you have evaluated yourself in that kind of way. Then
in the midst of the idea of sacrifice, I've been trying to learn the lesson of like gratitude. I think there's a lot of stuff that I used to subscribe to that most of the world subscribes to. Like, you know, we talk about like hustle culture and all that kind of stuff. So I think there's a lot of things that weren't really healthy. There's a lot of ways that go about compartmentalizing yourself and like all that kind of stuff that just aren't really healthy. In realizing that to an extent, I guess I sacrifice, especially like when your kid is born, like a little bit of a social life with other adults and things like that. Like you sacrifice things. But I had to change my perspective because I didn't want to get lost in that, if that makes any sense. So the other side for me is gratitude, because once you make a choice, the things that come with it. So you can either be like on some whatever, like woe is me shit, or you could be on some like, okay, this is not my favorite every day, but you know, I'm grateful for this and this and this, and that's a good thing that I do. Like almost daily, I try, because I want a certain disposition about myself. But I just start looking around about the things I'm grateful for, and it could be simple as like my eyes working, or you know, my son being alive, to like, oh my god, the leftovers that I cooked for Thanksgiving, like just stuff like that. Like I just start doing. It could be anything.
You felt that when I saw it.
Yeah, it could be anything.
That's a big thing. You know, I have my son doing affirmations. You know, he does so good in school and he's a smart kid. That inner teenager kind of gets lazy after a while. And I tell him so many times, I'm like, look, this is 8th grade. It's just going to get harder from here, dude. You can't drop the ball now. You can't drop the ball ever, you know, but now is you really have to go for it and push and be your best self. So I'm like, well, let's do this. Let's try writing an affirmation. First thing he says, Mom, that's cheesy. I'm like, okay, but here's what I don't want to hear. The first thing you did was give me an excuse. And that goes for anybody out there. First thing you do is find an excuse. That's the worst way to do it. I told him, I at least say, Mom, I tried. If you can say, Mom, I tried it and it didn't work for me, then I can say, all right, let's find something else. How long are you going to sit and let time just fly past you while you're making excuses and trying to figure it out without just doing it and say, hey, I tried, I fell, let me get up, let me try another way and try, and at least you can look back and say, yo, I tried all these ways and I've gained the knowledge of what's good, what's bad, what works, what doesn't work. It'll be worth it in the end.
I'm at the beginning of my parent thing, but like I said, I'm finding that as long as I keep the right attitude, that it's a fulfilling situation. And it is, again, it was my choice. And so I owe it to my son to make this awesome, because I'm the one who decided to bring him here. So, you know, I owe him that.
Yeah, and you are doing a great job, girl. Let me tell you, you got the hustle thing down, honey. Okay? I be getting in my little creative bag, but she was like, girl, I'm doing this. You better get it then.
I try. Thank you for seeing that in me.
Yes. Again, that is why I had to bring you on here. But as far as everything that you have going on with music and everything, I will have everything linked down in the description. So the website, you want to get some stuff, all the goodies.
The music is coming soon, so that's
music is coming soon. I'm excited. I'm excited, man.
I
You know
am
me, with the
too.
music, I'm into. We got to do some work though. We got to do some
I'm
work.
like out of my
We gotta
skin
have our
excited. I really, again, with the pandemic, it's been such a struggle to get together. And so I really almost like don't want to say anything, but girl, I'm excited like about the music. It's a whole, it's it's like honestly like me finally coming out, because the times I've done music in the past, a lot of times were with other leadership or say so, or just other things going on that weren't fully me.
Yeah.
This is about to be fully me. But in the meantime, you can see me on my Instagram, and you can see me at Jeweled High Life, because that is what I'm into these days.
So again, y'all, everything's going to be linked in the bottom, in the description, where you can find her, where you can find all the goodies. So you can hit the store, support Black-owned businesses, support these beautiful Black goddesses, y'all, because we is out here and we pushing and we trying and they sleep, honey. But I want to thank you for saying yes. And that right there will conclude episode 3. 3 is a good number. So like, share, subscribe.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to Power Cut.